Hi, my name is M.Cheema, and today I'm going to explain this topic of ethics in big data. There are two main topics in this presentation that we are going to discuss. The first one is emergence of big data, and the second is traditional principles of ethics. We will elaborate the ways big data impacts on ethical conceptions and how certain principles of ethics might be changing or require a rethinking. So we will discuss this all in today's presentation. This is this is the sequence of things that we will discuss today. The very first thing is we'll briefly outline the traditional ethical principles and what they are and how they need to be changed in consequences of big data. Secondly, we will summarize the four qualities of big data with their ethical relevance. And third, we will look deeper into the idea of changing nature of power and the emergence of ethics into the power. And in the next section, we will discuss what are the ethical challenges to the big data, and finally we will conclude our today's presentation. Okay, now we will start with traditional ethics and its principle. The very first thing is moral agency. So according to the definition of moral agency, the traditional ethics place a strong emphasis on moral responsibility of the individual. That is called moral agency. And the idea of moral agency is very much basically assumptions about individualism, free will, and power, we can say. All of these assumptions experience challenges when it comes to the advancement of modern technology, particularly big data. So next thing is moral responsibility. The moral responsibility is basically defined as the degree to which an entity possesses moral agency determines the responsibility of the entity, which is called moral responsibility. And an entity's moral responsibility is basically determined by several conditions. We can we can take a look into some of these conditions today. Like the first of one is causality, and it like an entity can be held responsible if the ethical relevant result is an outcome of its actions. So if it is result of its actions, then definitely it is considered morally responsible. The other thing is knowledge. We can blame somebody if somebody know the results of an action or the consequences, so then we can blame, and this is considered a moral responsibility as well. The third is choice. If somebody has the liberty to choose an alternative, then we can say it is that person's moral responsibility of choice. And the new advancements in ethics are basically uh, like social networking ethics and like corporate moral responsibility and information ethics. So these things are considered new advancements in the ethical principles or additions to traditional ethics. Okay, moving next to our what are the four qualities of big data that makes a data, we can say, big data. These are the main four qualities. The first one is there is more data than ever in the history of data. Like if we take an example of social media, that previously in the past the social media network were not strong and there were not as such information available on the social media networks, but nowadays you can find a lot of information related to any entity or any person or any individual on the social networking channels. So this is basically making the information more readily available to everybody. Okay, the second property of big data is that it is organic. Uh, why we call it organic? Because it is a reality that is digitally available. It is not statistical data, and that's why we call it organic. And the third quality of big data is potentially global. Like you can Google everything on the internet, and you so the big data always has a quality that it is available to all the world. And the fourth quality is big data emphasize on correlations, like it try to relate things. If like we have data available through social networking channels and data available through company website, we can like big data try to correlate them to find the relationship between them. These are the four main qualities of big data. Big data can ethically be problematic because more information is available to everybody. Okay, the next is new power distribution. That the first thing is modern day problems like drones and genetics problems. Ethicists are constantly trying to catch up with modern day problems and in order to keep ethics up to date, but there are a lot of development like computer ethics. There are a lot of books written related to computer ethics and cyber ethics uh, that uh, explain the standard moral problems and moral dilemmas related to computer and modern world. Data stakeholders are basically the stakeholders who has a lot of power. The first are data collectors that determine which data is collected, which is stored, and for how long. Data utilizers, they they can define or redefine the purpose of data to be used, and determining the behavior by imposing new rules, creating innovation. So these are the things that data utilizers can do, and data generators are basically the uh, actors, or that could be a physical phenomena, that could be some activity, natural activity that generates data. So that's how In the new world, the data is being generated, collected, and utilized. Now we'll discuss a little bit about the challenges of big data ethics. Uh, okay, the first thing is privacy. We know that all the data is readily available to the whole world. That is one of the main quality of big data. So it hurts the privacy. That is a big ethical challenge that we are facing now, and like because everybody has access to all the data, and there are different other challenges that we are facing nowadays, like propensity research ethics. Now I would like to conclude my uh, presentation. That does big data change everything? uh, Big data might indicate certain changes to traditional assumptions of ethics, like individuality, free will, and power. It might have some consequences that we need to consider. And the other thing is that um, we want to live in a data field world, and how we can prevent the abuse of big data. We need to find source of information and power, and definitely some standards. The role of ethnics is they need to discuss the challenges and the preventive measures, and how the power distribution should be, and how the information should be available. So these are the main points that need more research and more insight. So the final conclusion is that it is not seem to be overstatement to say that big data does have some strong effects on assumptions about individual responsibility and power, but it has some drawbacks as well, like loss of privacy and some other real world challenges. Thank you.